Hi, my name is Al Green. Not that one, but the struggling guy who was in the music industry for years trying to sell talent and songs to agents. The agents befriended me and taught me techniques that I want to pass on to you through my program, which is called You Can Talk, You Can Sell. Anyone who has ever taken this program has excelled in selling and either risen to the top of their company, their team, or the top of their field. It's called You Can Talk, You Can Sell, and you can get it right here. Have you thought of everything that you could do to get a little extra attention from your customers when you visit them or run into them in person? When visiting customers, it's customary, after introducing yourself or saying hello again, to say, "Let me tell you why I'm here." And you might get a reception like, I know why you're here. But in reality, always mention something completely different to ensure that you're getting their attention. So if, let's say, for example, you're selling insurance, it's very easy to have your customer look at you and say, "Yeah, I know why you're here. You want to sell me insurance." When in reality, it wouldn't hurt to say something to the customer such as, "I was thinking about this and I found something in your neighborhood, your zip code, which is not very common. And the reason why I want to bring it to your attention is because, yes, I want your business, but at the same time, do you know what the advantages are if at your age you purchase the insurance now? And I can show you that you don't have to keep it. It's not a lifetime contract, but you might want to think about the advantages. I'll explain them to you. Then what you do is you run down anything at all that's different than what you told them before. You can talk about all of the different types of insurance levels they can get into, and whether there's a savings or a term insurance or whatever, and how they can insure their whole family for whatever the reason. You can talk about the tax advantages that are obvious, not the ones that you would be giving actual tax advice, because unless you're a tax attorney or tax consultant, you wouldn't be able to really do that. But in some cases, such as in my case, if I withdraw, I have to pay taxes on it because it counts as income. And I found that out on my own through my sales rep, who was very, very good at getting me in the right place at the right time with the right insurance. We all have to have that. Now, if you're selling another intangible, such as a service, you can talk about all the extra things you can do, or the availability in the case of, or when you are selling something like advertising, you can talk about all the other types of venues that you can reach for that customer, and talk to them about the demographics that you know that you could cross over. However, you just come up with something that is going to be unique and different than what you may have told them before. Most people don't even do this. They just go in there, they pitch, they handle objections, and that's it, they leave. One of the things that's taught in the six-figure selling system is the concept of the return visit and the concept of follow-up. Follow-up is one of the key ingredients in building sales that you've worked on for a long time, because in the meantime, while you're not paying attention to that customer, it's very easy for your competition to swoop in and steal your sale by whatever tactics that they want to use. However, in your case, one of the things that you want to think about is, what can you do to stay on top of it? Because what you would love to have your customer do is to say, I'd like to check with my salesman from XYZ Corporation. That could be you. That could have been me. In times it was. and then beat the deal. I knew one salesman who was very effective. He was very, very loud and had a distinct, commanding style voice. Very unique. And he used to tell people, look, before we even get into price, I want you to check around and call me last. In other words, he encouraged them to do their homework and find out what other prices and availabilities there are for his product. And then he said, call me last. Please commit to that. Give me your phone number and I'll call you back if I don't hear from you in 2 days. But check the other customer competition and call me back. And that's exactly what would happen. The people would call him back and he'd say, okay, you talk to XYZ company, what kind of price did they give you? And what about installation? And he would get all of the information and say, all right, I'll tell you what, how about if I do it this way? I'll give you the next higher up quality of the product and I'll have it installed with my people for less money than they're charging. At that point, when I was working as a consultant, he went to me and said, could you find me an installer that will do it for X amount of dollars so he could maintain his profit? The installation at that time was about $400 for that particular product, and he said, find me someone that'll do it for $200. And he gave me a list of all of the different contractors that he used over the years. He was conniving, but he was very clever, and he was closing more sales than anybody I had seen because he just got to work and he went at it. He went after everybody as if it was the most important sale of the day. And it turned out that I would watch this guy close sale after sale. And you know what? He wasn't the most likable person. But if you were buying from him, he was your best friend. And he would take you out to dinner or take you, buy a round of golf for you or whatever it was that you wanted. But because his average price of a sale was anywhere at the time from $2,400 to $15,000. And ironically, he wrote a lot of business. So much so that a lot of his salespeople that worked for him would leave his company to start their own companies. And he would beat them every time. Now that was a few years ago. After the age of retirement, I found out he was still in business, working out of his house instead of out of an office. Because why not? He didn't need inventory. Everything that he did was custom made by one of his vendors, but he made promises to people to get the price down, and he offered them all kinds of ways to pay it, and he would tell them, look, if you pay in cash, I'm going to save you 25% right off the bat. And most people would be like, well, how much is that? And he would tell them, and it would be a significant number. And he'd go, wait a minute, I made a mistake. It's 35%, which is looking a little better. And then he'd say, okay, great. If they say no, he'd say, all right, I'll call you back. And he'd just hang up on them. And then the next day, he would call it back and go, listen, is price the main reason why that you are deciding to go with another company? Because I got an even better deal. I just found out that this company, one of his vendors, which was a major vendor of a product for people's homes, is having a sale, and I can get you 40% off. How does that sound? That's going to save you. And then you give them a figure. And then if the person said, well, let me think about it, you go, tell you what, I'm going to have a contractor over there this afternoon to take measurements. And then we'll go from there. And that's how he would leave it, like an assumed sale. But what he was doing was, again, always coming back with something more special than before. Like, it's the aha method. Like, oh my God, look what I found. And it would work almost every time. I don't think I ever saw him lose a sale that he really worked on. I've seen people come to his office and put down thousands and thousands of dollars in cash as a deposit to secure the price that he was giving. And he actually did pretty good. There was a really interesting thing about this, is that he didn't consider himself to be a salesman. He was just the owner of the company. But all of his salesmen were leaving his company to go work for other companies and try to start off on their own. And unfortunately, they couldn't do what he could do because they didn't have the personality. He was the actual closer. the salesmen actually weren't that effective because they were not bringing in the sales, they were bringing in prospects, and he would do the closing, which is perfectly okay if you work that way too. But remember, the key is to go back in with a surprise, with something different. I just found something I need to go over with you. And then come up with something that piques the interest of your customer and also helps them overcome a challenge that you might not realize, they might not realize that they have. And it does work. But go back in with a surprise, but definitely don't let the customer sit. Go back as soon as you can. Keep on top of it. It's very similar to when you're running a race, you have to put out the effort consistently, because as soon as you lack off, somebody else could move ahead. Now, when you're selling and there's a competitor, you're running a race. Who's going to get the order first? Who's going to say the trigger word that's going to get the customer to buy? So you might want to think in terms of staying on top of it and trying to come up with anything you can. Ask your salesperson, that's your manager, your sales associate, to help you with any ideas. And if not, join the six-figure selling system. I will personally help you come up with some ideas that could help you build more sales in a shorter period of time and get you into the top salespeople of your company.